This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz, and I'm very excited to be speaking with Aja Naomi King about lessons in chemistry. How are you today?
I am amazing. You know, beautiful day in sunny California.
Well, thanks for being with me. Can you tell me about your journey to starring in this show?
Oh my God. So it's kind of a funny story. I had when it comes to lessons in chemistry, I originally went in for a role that didn't exist in the book. And then of course didn't hear anything for the longest time. And then they decided that they wanted to bring me in for that character. And then when you are on a project and you're ready to get started and you just feel like the winds are shifting into a different direction. And that was kind of the feeling I started getting. And then I got on a call with the showrunner and he was like, "So, we're kind of missing a really important part of this book, a very impactful character. And we want to know if you would be interested in becoming." Originally, he said merging these two characters, but really it was just becoming this other character entirely. Um, and at first, I was nervous because by that point, I had read the book and I didn't know what exactly that meant or what that was going to look like. But he outlined for me the world he wanted to try to create with Harriet. And it sounded so exciting. But at the same time, in this industry, it is challenging because people may say things to you and then you get the scripts and it's like, "Oh, that's not at all what we talked about." And I have to say, with darling, brilliant, incredible Lee Eisenberg, when he says something, he is true to his word. And what he created and then what we were able to manifest together was utterly extraordinary. And we made the Harriet of my dreams, that's for sure. So that's kind of how things shifted and allowed me to become this character for this series.
I think the series really is about letting people speak for themselves and be the people that they want to be, and that's nice that we get, the way it introduces each of the characters and narrating an episode and all that. I feel like we really get to know people as their authentic selves, which is nice.
Yes. And it's so nice when you're just working with people who are eager to collaborate with others, and have that kind of artistic sensibility where they see the value in what you have to contribute and are excited for what you bring to the table. And it's just such a reinforcement and vote of confidence for what I'm able to do as an actor, which I just don't feel like you always get as an artist. Like you're constantly trying to prove yourself, and yet walking into this space was, we already believe in you, and we want you to do what you do best, and we want to give you the space and the freedom to do that.
Right? What do you like most about the finished product of Harriet that we see on screen?
Oh, I mean, all of it. It's just, there's so much nuance. You get the full breadth of this woman, and I love the way in which we dive into her as an activist. But the thing that is the most meaningful part of it for me is that we see what life is like for her just as a woman, just as a Black woman in this time period, how she manages opposing sentiments with her husband, how she deals with motherhood, how she nurtures a friendship. I really love that we get to see this full human being, and it doesn't feel like some kind of stock character being slotted into something. And the richness of that has just been so rewarding because she is so, like, so fully present and so devout to her cause, but also there's so much about her that is a full expression of joy. And I love that we see so much of her joy.
That's really nice. I also like the early scenes we see with Calvin. You talk about working with Lewis Pullman.
Yes. Oh, I love him. He is just so I mean, everyone on this is wonderful, but the casting of him was so perfect. I think. I mean, all right. I think the casting of all of this was perfect, but there is something about him and the way he played this character. You yearn to see him again, and your heart breaks at the end of episode 2. And I loved working with him, and it was just so fun, like navigating these scenes together and talking about it and talking about what this relationship was and the roles that we played in each other's lives, and how, because my husband's away at war, he's someone that I could rely on, which becomes a very crucial thing. So when he falls short of that, it's devastating for Harriet, and at the same time for him, because he's been isolated and alone for so long, and I brought him into my family when I kind of shut him out, that's also devastating for him. And it's like it's I think it's just such a beautiful relationship, and something that we don't get to see often, just like male female friendship, and what that looks like and what that kind of support system can look like as well.
And I think the evolution of the relationship with Elizabeth is maybe a little rockier at the start, but then gets to be something very affirming. What is it like working with Brie Larson?
I mean, an utter dream. Brie is an utter dream. And I think a lot of that, I mean, not only because of just how great she is as an actor and how wonderful she is on set and the community that she tries to build off screen as well as on screen, but also because she was a producer on the project. And knowing that I just had her vote of confidence in this, and knowing that, like, she was, looking at the dailies and being so involved in, like, the scripts and everything that was going to happen, and also really just really, like, she would tell me before a scene would start, like, if something doesn't feel right, like, speak up, like, I've got your back, I'm here to support you. And I can't tell you how meaningful that is, because she's a producer as well as the lead of the show. And so much of her behavior was, this isn't just mine, this is ours. Like, we're creating this together, and it's going to be that much more special because of our togetherness.
You mentioned being in LA when we started this interview. I think a lot of the part of the show has to do with the idea of, freeways cutting through communities and all that. Do you feel like that's something you think about now when you drive around, having had this role?
Oh, so like I never thought about it before because I didn't know the history. And now when I am driving through, it's like, wow, like there were just whole communities that were completely removed from these areas. Like the history that was lost in terms of that. It's really, I mean, it's devastating, honestly. It's really devastating. And just the systems in place that have done and continue to do these types of things, it's a reality for us all to contend with. And I appreciate that we do have such a stronger awareness now, because we're so much more connected to one another in terms of like the internet and information. We have so much more access. But like thinking of people at the time, how communities probably felt so isolated by that, thinking like this is only happening to me, without fully understanding that it's happening everywhere. I really appreciate how educational the show was, on top of being motivational. It was really, it's been really magnificent to learn these things, because it's necessary to understand the stories that haven't been told, and the struggle that people have gone through, and that it's gone unseen. I find it, it was a great responsibility, I think, for all of us to do justice to the people that actually occupied these neighborhoods. So yes, it is very present on my mind.
I was in New York a few months ago at the Tribeca Film Festival and had a chance to see a movie called The Knife, which I think is
Stop it.
certainly different in tone from this project, and quite haunting. I don't know what's happening with them. I don't know if it's been picked up, what's happening, but I'd love to just hear some thoughts about working on that project.
Oh man, I love that you saw this. That's amazing. That was a really incredible experience as well. Namdi, who wrote and directed that piece, is a very good friend of mine. I love that he brought me into this project. It was crazy though, because we did a month of night shoots. So that was really important to him that we weren't just, in a studio, locked off location, but that we actually had the sense of, yeah, how do you feel when the police show up at your house in the middle of the night and you're being interrogated by a detective while you're also like, struggling with your body to not fall asleep and you're hopped up on all this fear of what might happen to your family. It just made everything feel very present and real and urgent. That was really fun, but also very intense because I was a new mom at the time. So I was very exhausted, but it definitely fed my character. I love that you saw this film. That's amazing.
You know if there are plans for release sometime soon? Is that something you're able to say?
Like, no, I know like Nambi's been negotiating certain things, but he's keeping it very close to his chest. But I'm also very excited to hear what the next steps will be with this film.
For those watching who haven't seen the film, it is nothing like Lessons in Chemistry. If you
No.
like Lessons in Chemistry, you might like this, but not because they're similar. So just be aware. So, well, I'm curious what you like. This is Awards Buzz, so we love to talk about awards-worthy content. Is there a show or performance that you've seen recently that really blew you away?
Oh my God. You know what I love about this award season? There's so many. I mean, which also makes me like that much more grateful that I'm even included in all of this, because when I look at my fellow performers and the work that they have done, I am in such awe of just what we're able to create as a community of artists. The most recent thing that I saw that I'm still just so blown away by is Shogun. Anna Sawai, like, wow, just phenomenal, utterly phenomenal. I mean, everyone in that project, but that was so beautifully done. I've been watching Ripley, like, oh God, it's just gorgeous to look at. Yeah, I mean, I of course have my favorites, like because I love The Bear and Abbott Elementary. Like, I love these shows so much because they're just so good. Oh, and Hacks, like like dream work, like, but just brilliant, truly brilliant. The stories that they're creating, truly, really, everyone, like, just stand out performances across the board. I'm so happy that like we're in this time where such magnificent work is being created, and the amount of it that is female driven, is it's really inspiring in terms of moving forward. And I'm just proud of television really taking the lead in just having like these really nuanced female characters, and a variety of life experiences and people to look at, to truly reflect back to the people viewing this and feel represented by what they're seeing. Baby reindeer, oh my God, like, like just some really extraordinary things. So it feels really exciting, and I am excited for what is being created now in the midst of all of this. And I hope we keep pushing forward, pushing that limit forward, so that even more people will feel represented and feel like their stories matter.
That's a great attitude and just a wonderful optimism about the industry. So, thank you so much for your time and best of luck in the future.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.